episode's actually more for the men out there, or for the ladies out there who have a man in their life that might be suffering with chronic symptoms. Because let's face it, men are not less likely to be suffering from chronic issues. But the fact is that we as health coaches are actually not seeing that many men come through our practices. So where are they finding their answers? So these kinds of questions are what I posed today's interviewee. And he's actually a male health coach, kind of a rare breed in our industry. And he found his way into the health coaching industry through his own health challenges. So we speak about what men are facing and how he's helping his clients reprioritize their health so that they can get moving forward. So if you find that you're one of these people who are trying to find a way to prioritize their health and struggling, perhaps you want to reach out to my interviewee, Mulk, or to myself, just to get you started on your journey. Thanks for watching and enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to Mind Shifters. I'm your host, Mireille Wagner, and today on the show, I have Mulk Raj. Hi, Mulk.
Oh, hi, Mireille.
So Mulk is a certified integrative nutrition health coach and is training as a functional medicine health coach at the School of Applied Functional Medicine. He's also the author of a book called How to Go Vegan for Dads. And his mission is to help dads struggling with health and well-being to live a more purposeful, balanced, and inspired life. That sounds brilliant, Mulk.
Thank you very much.
Have you on the show.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for the opportunity to speak to your audience. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Mulk, your target audience is dads and men in general. Do you feel that men approach their health in a very different way to women, and why do we not see them really in the health coaching area?
Well, it's an interesting question. That's something I wavered on when I first started looking at health coaching, because I looked at the industry and looked at the courses that were being offered, and I looked at the messaging and the marketing of health coaching, and I thought it's very oriented to women, to females, and all the images and the stories and the testimonials are all kind of female oriented, and I just had to question for a moment whether health coaching was a right thing for me. But I had a very compelling desire to learn about nutrition, and when I saw the curriculum and what was being the possibility of how it was going to impact my life, I realized that it was something I really needed. So I had to look beyond the marketing and the messaging, and I think that might be one of the reasons why there may be so few male health coaches. But I also think it speaks to the fact that as men, we don't necessarily open up about health. We don't approach health in the same way as women. We don't maybe we don't go to we may not necessarily make, I mean, these might be generally sweeping generalizations, but we may not go to the doctors.
Right. Well, so that was my question, and because I, as a functional medicine health coach as well, I mean, I don't see very many men coming to me, and I know some colleagues have men, but where do you feel that men are going to for their health questions or to find their health answers to their health issues?
Yes, that's a very good question. I'm not. I mean, that forms part of my research. Where is health? I mean, if you were to Google health, men's health right now, you'll come across the men's health website. So resources like that, maybe podcasts like the Rich Roll podcast and the Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, these are really good open conversations which cover a lot of things. I mean, they do cover physical health. Joe Rogan talks about training. Rich Roll talks about training. They talk about mental aspects as well, and what it means to be a man in today's world. So I would say those are good sources of information, certainly for myself. Those conversations are important. But in terms of healthcare, in terms of primary healthcare, I very much doubt you're going to get any kind of deep answers by visiting your doctors or your NHS surgery.
Mm-hmm. And this is where the health coaches actually offer a slightly different service, right? Especially
Absolutely, yes.
like you. So tell us, I mean, because you have your own health story, and you probably hit rock bottom before things started to turn around. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you were experiencing at the time and what was going on for you?
Yes, I mean it's I mean all sorts of things. It's been a long journey, and even even now, and even since taking the health coaching training, there's still issues that I'm still working on. So it's still a work in progress. But looking back to my early years, adolescent years, I was just a product of my environment. Like I guess most people are product of my culture. Um, we were actually quite relatively healthy. Looking back at our diet, we were vegetarian for the most part, and then, but I think I realized I was being very slightly influenced by television advertising, and when I got the opportunity to strike out by myself and go to university, I saw it as an opportunity to start to indulge and to rebel and to do all the things that I was not allowed to do. And that's when it all kind of went downhill. And I started to started drinking a lot. And as you do as a student, as part of the culture, and if that's a culture around you, then you're just going to slip right in. And people were smoking back then in the early 90s a lot as well. There were family members that smoked. So, I mean, I think about passive smoking. So I just naturally started smoking and drinking. The two went hand in hand, and that's where it all went kind of downhill. And I got this really funny story. When I first went to university, I met a friend, and we went for a run. A new friend, and we went for a run, and he was lagging behind, and I was so much healthier than him. My cardio was really good, something I took for granted. And then after 12 months of eating takeaway food and kebabs and discovering all this junk food and drinking lots of lager, copious amounts of lager, and smoking, at the end of the 12 months, we were about to go our separate ways, and we went for a run. And I could hardly move. I didn't put on. Well, I did. I did put on quite a bit of weight, and he was. He didn't drink and he didn't smoke, and he continued to play tennis the weekends, and I just totally was in my kind of rebellious mode, and I couldn't keep up with him, and it was really embarrassing, and that was a sign.
Oh,
That's
just hit the male ego. That's the best way, right?
Yes, absolutely. Ego. But it didn't, it wasn't enough to that didn't inspire change at that very moment in time. It just made me think. It gave me a bit of pause for thought, but I think I just carried on regardless.
So what was your trigger for change then? What situation or what happened in your life that made you realize this, if I carry on the way I'm carrying on, this is not going to be good?
Yeah, I guess it's I guess when we're faced with big life-changing events. So I was in a long-term relationship. I was in a 10-year relationship, and when that ended, it didn't end very amicably. And that was an opportunity. That opportunity forced me to look at myself and who I'd become, and look at my habits and where I was in my life, and why I was so desperately unhappy. But even the happiness was hidden. I mean, you can hide the happiness. You can hide it in alcohol. You can hide it with freedom all of a sudden. But really, I was really unhappy, and I tried to. I was unemployed. I was looking for a job. I just resigned a previous, a really good contracting post. Sorry, I'd resigned a full-time job, and all of this forced me to look at myself, and that makes you present. That makes you realize that to get out of this fantasy world of what you think life should be about, and forces you to reckon what should you be doing, what should I be doing right now. And that made me look back at my life, and look back at all the things that I took for granted as I was growing up with my family, and looked back at the diet and the habits. And that was a point that made me really focus on change and start to look at it. That's when I became conscious of my level of unhappiness.
So what things did you change, and how did you get on your path to wellness again?
What did I change? I think I think the environment has a lot to do with it, and I moved when I did eventually get a job. I moved out of excuse me. Somebody's knocked on the door. Hopefully, it doesn't.
We can edit that out. No problem. We can edit it out.
Yes. So I'm not going to let him out because he'll just scratch to come back in. Sorry about this.
That's okay.
So what did I change? So I think I was living in a city and I was partying.
I'll pause. So what did you change to get back on your path to wellness?
Well, so many things I had to change. And I wasn't even aware. I was just following my changing circumstances. But I did move away from the area. And I had a complete change of environment. I made new friends. So that had a massive difference. So I had different influences around me. But I think it took until when I settled down with my girlfriend and who became my wife, when we settled down and we stopped partying and we stopped drinking, and I had to have a good hard look at myself and think to myself, what am I actually doing? And there's got to be more to life than just coming home after work and watching television and then just partying at the weekends. So it was that was the big, I think that was a big question. I had to look at happiness. I had to look at what I was actually spending my time doing and where I was going, and look at meaning in my life and look at what was my purpose. That was a big question to face. So it was when I started reclaiming my time from work, because I was working long hours. I was traveling to Bristol, which was like an hour and a half commute. And I started reclaiming my time, and I had more time for myself. And I asked myself the question, what is it that I want to do in this time? What is the purpose of my life? What should I be doing? And that's when I started looking at other careers. I started looking at filmmaking, started indulging in hobbies that I always wanted to indulge in, always wanted to partake in. So I started looking at photography, started looking at filmmaking, started looking at script writing, tried to find some kind of creative outlet, and to see whether this was something that I could branch out into. I was essentially looking for a purpose and looking for some meaning in my life. And it was when I quit smoking, when I got to a point where things had leveled out, and I realized that I was still grieving for this relationship, hence why I was still drinking and partying. And when all that kind of settled down and I stopped drinking, I stopped partying, I asked myself this question: why am I smoking? Because I knew it was holding me back. And I couldn't answer that question, because I thought, why am I smoking? What's it providing? What's it giving me? And I knew that if I was able to kick that habit, that it was going to make a real difference to my life. And after about 18-month struggle of trying to quit smoking, of experiencing life with and without cigarettes, with different techniques for quitting. And it was when I actually read the book How to Quit Smoking the Easy Way by Alan Carr that I realized, I saw light at the end of the tunnel. I realized the reasons why it was so difficult to quit. And then at that moment, I saw my life. I just thought, wow, look at all these things that you've always wanted to do, like get back into exercise and martial arts. I've always wanted to do martial arts. That when I saw that presented to me as an opportunity, as a possibility, that I ran for it, and I went right, and I put out my last cigarette, and I started running, started training for a half marathon. I signed up for a half marathon after 17 years of not doing any exercise, trying desperately to having these dodgy ankles. That's when I signed up for a half marathon stupidly. In hindsight, I should have gone for a 10K. But anyway, I did 5 months of training. I strengthened my ankles. I started walking.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And after the half marathon, which nearly killed me,
Wow.
I thought, right, next thing on my list is martial arts. That's when I started kickboxing.
Okay, from half marathon to kickboxing. Great. From one fire to another.
Yes. Yeah, but I was really, I remember my boss saying to me at the time, she said, Mulk, I wish I could start smoking and then stop smoking just to feel an ounce of the energy that you're putting out there right now, that you're kind of the enthusiasm for everything that that you're doing. And I was, and that felt good, felt nice to be, I mean, the people around me were inspiring me. It wasn't just coming from within. It was the environment, working with new colleagues, and they were into running and fitness.
Yeah.
And it was something that was influencing me.
Well, it sounds like you had a number of factors that you changed. Like you changed your environment. So the people around you were much more in line with your new idea and philosophy for life. And you found a reason to change these habits, because it sounded like for a long time you couldn't find that one reason to make you stop smoking, for instance. And then you had a community, right, which is a whole bunch of other people who were motivating you, and I think that's so key to helping people change.
Definitely. I mean, I didn't realize this at the time, or maybe I did, but as you as time goes by and you reflect and you realize that how important people are, the people around you, how important that is to your well-being and to the habits that you start to form.
So looking back, because now you're studying functional medicine and you understand functional medicine the way I do, as being a whole body approach and not only just nutrition. So what were the functional medicine principles that you were applying in your life, not realizing that these were functional medicine principles?
That's a good question. I think realizing that I was focusing on happiness, realizing that I was living life out of balance, that I was unhappy with so many different areas of my life, but I took physical activity as a catalyst to help me move forward. But I mean, some really basic things like relationships, addressing relationships, and how key they were in my life. Things that I took for granted at the time. Look back now, working from home, the socialization is totally gone. So that was important. I mean, sleep. I was desperately in need of sleep. If you look at photographs of me 15 years ago, I was constantly tired. And even when I took up kickboxing and running, I was working long hours and I was constantly tired. I was drinking lots of coffee, and my diet was still in need of repair. Still needed to look at my diet, but certainly feeling tired all the time and not focusing on sleep. It was only when I took on this education of health coaching did I realize that these basic things it wasn't just the physical aspect of my life, it was everything else in my life that was really important. My relationships with the physical activity. Was I happy in my job? Did I feel like it was providing me, was it nourishing me? Was it giving me the purpose that I was looking for? Was it giving me the meaning that I was looking for? So this kind of so many different aspects of my life that were lacking, and it's taken 10, 15 years. And then more recently, I was when I was still working in technology, I was getting ill every year. I was getting ill about 2-3 times a year towards the end of the year, and I couldn't understand why that was. And I thought, this is not normal. And I realized it was due to stress. When I looked up the symptoms, I realized it was potentially adrenal fatigue, because I was exercising really hard. I was drinking way too much coffee, and I wasn't sleeping right. Wasn't sleeping deeply. I wasn't sleeping long hours, the hours that I needed. So many different areas of stress in my life that, and I realized that when I did actually drink some coffee, and how it made me feel again, I thought, right, you're drinking way too much coffee. And when I took on a more relaxed exercise regime, started doing meditation, started relaxing the body, and doing stretches and yoga stretches, and just cut back on the exercise, the hard exercise, did I start to realize that that there's health isn't just what you're eating and how you look physically. It's a function of so many different aspects of your life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
oh,
it sounded like you were that wired and tired kind of guy, using coffee to keep the eyes open.
yeah, I didn't realize I was actually. It occurred to me once when I was sat at my desk and I felt this sensation of falling asleep, and but I just ignored it. I just thought, this is normal. Isn't this normal? Maybe I just didn't. And this is where I was lacking in knowledge and education
Right.
on health. And and I look back now and I just go, I was actually falling asleep at my desk because I was so tired, and I had to drink cups of coffee, one after the other, in order to keep me going. And it sounds ridiculous, and it's embarrassing to have to admit this, but
But how many people actually go through that? They sit at their desks after lunch
yes,
and they're falling asleep, and I think that's normal, right? And
yes,
that's our job, is to educate people that it's not normal, and your energy level should be constant throughout the day. Well,
absolutely.
so going back to your target market, what do you think are the most common challenges that men are facing, and how do you, as a health coach, help them through these?
Yes. As I mentioned, I mean, I've been through quite a lot of life changes. Um, I'm fortunate to have, I'm grateful for the health that I'm enjoying right now. But I think these life changes have allowed me to stop, become present, and reflect on what it is I am doing and where I want to be. And I think through health coaching, you're getting that opportunity to sit with someone and talk to them about your life without the life changing or the serious life event.
Mm-hmm.
So through mine were kind of breakup of relationships and redundancies, and you can, and I think men are dealing with stress first and foremost, anxiety and depression. And I think if you're able to take some time, if you're not able to work with a health coach, if you're able to take some time to yourself and reflect on your life and how you're feeling and why it is you're feeling that way, you're going to get some answers. So I'm able to give individuals an opportunity to talk about things in their life and to open up and hold, 50 minutes, an hour a week, to explore different areas of their life and work on different areas of their life, which you wouldn't normally have, unless you're meeting with friends, which is brilliant. If you're meeting with friends, going out at lunchtime, saying you're spending a whole hour talking about yourself and your life and being coached on,
Yeah, how many of our male friends are actually helping them coach and not
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
what
mean,
they're experiencing as well?
yeah, I mean, if the way we socialize, I mean, with coffee culture, yeah, we know we do have this opportunity to go out and drink coffee and chill out without alcohol, but Is everyone taking? Does everyone have the opportunity to do that?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think it's stress, the stress of work, stress of being a parent, in a way that the world is constantly changing, but dealing with stress in a way, being a parent and dealing with stress in a way that you were taught may be an outmoded way, or you may not have learnt those lessons. So we're kind of struggling to work out, how should I be acting, how should I be behaving, how should I be dealing with these problems? How can I deal with children when I am not completely happy with where I am and what I'm doing? So these are the kind of problems. And then stress just in general, in terms of like financial stress. These are the kinds of problems. So I can help people deal with trying to get to the root cause, trying to understand what it is that people are dealing with, and how they can get to the bottom of that, and do something about it, because it's an opportunity. I mean, I'm struggling with noisy children, and I have to reframe that question and go, right, yes, you're getting stressed out, yes, you're getting irritable, but why, and look at it as an opportunity, because I'm learning the lessons. I will continue to have this experience until I learn the lesson that I'm trying to be taught by the universe. So,
well, it's great that you're still on this journey, because we all are. We're all on our own journeys, and we're all still learning a bunch of things that life's throwing at us.
absolutely.
So, Mulk, what's one message that you'd like to give to anybody, any male that might be in that position that you were in a couple of years back, struggling with their health or struggling personally?
Yes. I guess there's so many things I could say. If you can, start a conversation with someone. And I don't know how easy that's going to be, but it's going to have to come when you're ready. Like I was ready to change. Then you will change. When I was ready to quit smoking, it took me 18 months to actually quit smoking, and I wasn't ready. And I had to go through that journey. But when you're ready, when I was ready, I was like, right, I've had enough. I've bottomed out. I'm not ready to actually quit smoking. So I guess if you're a man and you're struggling right now, and you feel like you've got nowhere to turn to, nowhere to go, then, and you kind of bottomed out and you're ready for change, then I think it's time for you should reach out and try and start a conversation with someone. And what I needed and what I was looking for was something for me to be some internal motivation, and things motivated me over the years. And you can watch videos and you can hear stories, and they are really good at motivating you, and they will help you along your journey. But what you need to find is some internal motivation. You need to find that purpose and that meaning in your life. And what is it that you're spending time doing? What cause are you looking to champion? And that's what put me on this path of health. Because the one constant in my life, which was quite revelationary when I did actually look at it, was actually health, and my health in general. And I didn't even see it. But when I actually looked at where I was actually focusing my time, where I was spending time, where I was investing my money and time, it was my health. So there'll be something like that I think everyone has that. It's our life's purpose. That's why we're here. It's our mission, and it's about. I think you're already on that journey. I think we are all on that journey. It's about trying to find ways of quickening, or getting clear on that, becoming clearer on that, on what that is for you as an individual. I didn't put that very well, but essentially finding your life's purpose and what it is that you're passionate about.
Great. Yeah, I think that's a brilliant message for anyone out there, not even only men. Yeah. Well, thank you, Mulk, for your time.
Welcome.
Anybody that would like to get in touch with you, How do they reach you?
Okay, so you can contact me on my website, hopeandthemagnolia.com. I've just deleted all my social media accounts, so you can't find me there. I have a YouTube channel. So yes, hopeandthemagnolia.com.
Great. Perfect, Mulk. Well, thank you very much for your time. It was great chatting to you.
Thank you, Mireille. Really
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.